Hey everybody, it's October 1st and I am so ridiculously excited. I did not get very much sleep last night, so I may not seem as ridiculously excited as I am. Cheryl is coming home right as I start this, so Max is going to be whining a little bit, but everyone is okay because it's October 1st. It's Halloween season, which is my favorite season. To me, October 1st is just the gateway to the 31 days of Halloween. And I'm going to do my best to bring those to you. So the goal is to mostly go live or post a video here every day-ish. I'm giving myself some grace and in all of this, but I'm going to be pre-recording some videos for when we're gone as well. I'm going to hopefully pre-record some videos while I'm here because I'm still going to be doing a lot of lives. So right now we do Tuesday, Are You Scared of the Starch Solution? Wednesday, I usually do an interview, or like this Wednesday, I'm on Chef AJ's show, and I'm doing a Halloween show. So you want to come hang out there on Wednesday. I'll notify everybody about that too. Daria says hi, which is awesome. And Linda says it's a beautiful, warm autumn day and that she hopes we're all enjoying it. And Rebecca says hi. So tell me what it's like where you are. It's pretty sunny. It's been kind of cloudy for almost a week, it feels like. It's a little bit warmer than I'd like it to be still. The smells of pumpkin spice are in the air, and isn't that all that's really important? No, it's not all. It's all that's important in my little what's going to make Kathy happy mind. So, no, there's plenty of other things more important. And Liz says, I'm on team everything pumpkin spice. Excellent. As you can see, I'm also in team pumpkin themed kitchen things. This is an apple, but I figured that was fall. We got this at Disney. It's this cute little poisoned apple mug. And this is a little like cast iron pan. It's not lined on the inside. On the inside, it's just cast iron. So, but it has the little pumpkin stem and things, and I like it. Hint, I made some pumpkin spice syrup earlier, and it could be in here. This is sitting on my 360 slow cooker bottom, but it's not on. And we can talk about slow cookers, or I can take questions about slow cookers if you want. I just did a slow cooker class yesterday in Kathy's Cooking Club, and at some point it will be available too. It's just not today. I got maybe 5 or 6 hours sleep last night, and we have a couple of errands to run. So that's why I seem a little, it's not just me being goth, I promise. Dari says it's cloudy and warm in Daytona Beach, and Marcia is in Oregon. Hi, Rill, it's summery Milwaukee. Yeah, I think this summery's kind of like turned around and been like, I don't think I'm ready to leave yet. Like, our crepe myrtles still have all their blossoms. Every once in a while when we drive, we'll see a few leaves on a tree getting ready to turn or barely turning. And I'm ready for all the colors, all the places. Now, we are driving up the East Coast for our vacation, and we hopefully will meet fall early and then hang out with it on the way home too. Yes, Linda says October 9th is Thanksgiving Day in Canada, so pumpkin spice everything is perfect. And by tomorrow morning, Kathy's Cooking Club will get an email with October classes. One of the classes will either be this Thursday or Saturday, and it's going to be a Thanksgiving class. And I'm still planning it, so there's still time to email me if you're in Kathy's Cooking Club at kathy.hester@gmail.com and make some suggestions. And hey, Boston Vegan Bean. Oh, Marlene says it's supposed to be 88 in northern Michigan today. That seems crazy. I do not know what it's supposed to be, but it is already 77, which I think is hotter than it was all week. So, you know, it's okay. Colors are coming out in Maine, says Rebecca. That's awesome because we're going all the way up to the tippy top of Massachusetts. So we're going to see quite a few things. And we may have figured out a way to visit Salem a little bit, which fits in with Kathy's Halloween, right? But if it's too crowded, we will go and we will walk down the street and go, okay, we saw it, and go take a hike out in the autumn leaves. So we have a backup plan. Ooh, in Boston it's 65. That is, congratulations. Tatiana says snowing, wet snow in Canada. Ooh, happy to spend some kitchen time. I'm happy to spend kitchen time with you too. All right, so this is really simple. We are going to make pumpkin spice syrup. Now, wherever you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook, usually you're watching on YouTube. If you go down and there's like 3 dots under the description, you click more, there's a link to this recipe. There's also, if you are not on team brown and white sugar, there are a couple of options that I'll mention, but there's also a link to an infused fall spiced maple syrup. And if you don't do any sweeteners at all, you could still I would not put a black tea in here, but you could do like a rooibos or an herbal, like pumpkin spice tea. We're going to talk about, I made this on the stovetop, the induction burner stovetop. This is a little slow cooker. Is it not the cutest? I don't think you can get them anymore, but it's like a little pumpkin. So you know I had to have it. And it's like for dips and things. But you can just throw this stuff in your slow cooker, let those whole spices infuse for a long time. So it could be water and a tablespoon of rooibos pumpkin tea, or rooibos chai, or something like that. So you can make a version that you're making without sugar, even though it won't be a syrup. It could still be a delightful, tasty drink. So if you have some questions about that in specific, you can email me at kathy.hester@gmail.com. All right. Ooh, Kathy says low 90s in Texas. Boo! That's too hot for fall. Obviously, that's my opinion. So let's get started with this. You guys can ask me some questions as I'm going along. It's going to take less time for me to throw these together. So I'm literally going to put the stuff in here together, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like cooked. We are going to put it in a special, like little pourry thing. And then I think I'm going to show you how to make my cold foam pumpkin spice latte. So we'll see how that goes. I may have 2 coffees today because, like, can you tell? I can barely keep my eyes open. Oh, Laney's Life says, give me all the pumpkin. Indeed, my friend, indeed. And this little guy, so Gideon's Bakehouse does not have vegan baked goods. They do have vegan iced coffee down in Disney Springs in Orlando, but they have all this cool art all year round. So you guys have seen me wear some of these. And usually the first of the month, they have a t-shirt and they give money to a charity sometimes. It's really cool. And they have art prints. And I just love this little guy dressed up for trick-or-treating. He's just so cute. And they all have these big soulful eyes. I just ordered today's at Gideon's Bakehouse, which is a black cat dressed up in Victorian clothes. And they are giving money to a kitty rescue. So it's gideonsbakehouse.com. Now their site is like totally being swamped and going down off and on. And Tracy Reese, hey Tracy Reese, says it's 75 in Georgia, a bit too warm in October for me. Yes, yes. Oh, Boston Vegan Bean, you have just made another errand for me. I'm not sure if I should thank you or not, because one of the errands I'm going to run is go get some pie pumpkins, because I'm going to show you guys how to make your own pumpkin next. Like pumpkin puree. Obviously, we're not going to grow a pumpkin from a seed tomorrow, but it's really inexpensive and easy to make pumpkin puree. And so we're going to give it a go. Fingers crossed that pie pumpkins are already out where I am. But I could do with another pumpkin pot. I just got this one at Home Goods this year. It was it like $25? It was really reasonable when you think of a pan like this that's Teflon. but it's also enameled on the inside, which this is not, is like $250 or $350. So I'm good with this, thank you. All right, ready? So we're gonna take the pumpkin lid off of our pumpkin pot. I will show you some gratuitous jack-o'-lantern mug action. All right, so we're gonna put a half a cup of brown sugar and a half a cup of vegan white sugar. So vegan white sugar means that was not had any bone char in there. And I get mine at Aldi's. It's really cheap, and it states very clearly that it's vegan. That is also the brand that I get when I go to Campari Foods or the Mexican market. And you are probably, if you are not a sugar person, you're like, what are you trying to do to us? You're going to kill us. This is making a syrup. So the syrup should have lots of sugar in it. How you control your portion of sugar is that you just use a little bit of syrup to flavor things. That is up to you. You want to use all the syrup, that's your business. It's not my business. But I also tried in this one, so I was reading, you need to keep it in the fridge if you're doing 1-to-1. So we have 1 cup of sugars, and we're going to put 1 cup of water in there. If you do 2 cups of sugars to 1 cup of water, supposedly you can leave it out on the counter, bartenders say. So I'm going to try this one. For now, let's all refrigerate ours. I'll do a little test with this and see how it goes. Also, that means I can take this one on the road, and maybe if there's not room in the cooler, it'll be okay. So that's what goals are. All right, so back to this. We're gonna put a cup of water in there. This is a 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree. And this is not pumpkin pie stuff, it's just pumpkin puree. And did you know, fun fact, that sometimes there's butternut squash or other squashes in here. And in fact, if you find that pumpkin isn't very flavorful for you, you could use your own butternut squash, acorn squash, whatever you got. You could use sweet potato in here. And I've made sweet potato syrup and sweet potato lattes, and they work great. So do what you have on hand. And I think sometimes, some years pumpkin is really expensive and some years it's not. I haven't checked the prices yet, but I did see some cases of organic pumpkin at Costco. But I just got my second shingles. No, I got my second shingles shot and my arm was sore, so I didn't pick it up. I didn't want to carry it. So I'll try and remember the price and tell you later on. All right, so, and you don't have to mix this in really well. And see, look, already the sugar has dissolved. So we're gonna put heat in here. It's not for the sugar to dissolve, but for the spices to infuse. If you go to the recipe, I give you a recipe for all powders in addition to these whole spices. I encourage you to use the whole spices, and then I'll tell you a way that you can kind of reuse them. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, because we don't want to throw just a whole nutmeg. We've got 3 whole cloves. If your cloves are kind of old, if they're from a couple of years ago, you could add a couple more. I'm doing, I think it's supposed to be 5, however many cardamom pods I found. And these are the hard Indian cinnamon sticks. There's like a canela, which are bigger and they're softer, and you can crumble them up. Either way works fine. And then we're just going to put this on the heat, and basically, kind of like we do tea, we're going to let that infuse. So that just means we want those cinnamon stick flavors to infuse into the water, the cinnamon sugar stuff. Cheryl's home. And she just scared me to death.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So where was I? Okay, so what we're wanting this to do is like infuse, like we infuse tea. Like when we make tea, we put some stuff in water, we wait a while, and then the water tastes like it. That's all a syrup is with sugar, right? And the sugar helps preserve it. Could you make this with just water and sweeten it with, I don't know, stevia or monk fruit? Probably. It's probably not going to last as long because sugar does act as kind of a preservative on its own. Okay, now we're going to see the real excitement comes. Yeah, and the house smells really good. So after we're going to strain these out now. So this is cool. So usually what I do is if I'm doing it in the slow cooker, I would probably do it for 4 to 5 hours on high. Cheryl, if you could just leave those on the floor until I'm finished, I will come get those. Okay. I didn't get much sleep, so every time there's a noise, my brain bings over there. Oh, and she's not stopping yet.
I am.
Okay. Alrighty. I know she's just trying to be helpful, but I just want to finish telling you the things, and then I am happy to clean it up. So what was I even saying? Okay, so 4 to 5 hours on high or low on your slow cooker. You could do it for about 10 minutes on your Instant Pot on high pressure. You can put it on the stove 20 to 30 minutes. It really depends. There is a point of diminishing return as far as cooking it. You cook some of the flavors out, like you cook the nutmeg out. Also, the other thing that I'm changing in this recipe from the one that's online is I am not putting the vanilla in for cooking. I'm putting the vanilla in later. Why? Because because I don't want to cook that vanilla flavor out. I want to make sure that it's just really strong and good and yummy. Hey, Justine, it's awesome to see you here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'll move this so you can see this cool thing. Let's move that thing out of the way. Give you some fun things to look at. All right, and this I just made this morning. Hi, Debbie. It's good to see you. So see, this is the little thing, and it doesn't have an enamel lining. And I like to let it cool because this will infuse and flavor until it cools all the way down. Oh, you know what? I forgot something in my other one. I'm sorry, I had too many distractions. Let me come back in here. I forgot an important ingredient that I even cut up and put in the freezer. And a cute little cup even, so that I wouldn't forget. This is just fresh sliced ginger. Why is it in the freezer? Because that's where I keep my whole gingers, and I just cut it up and put it in. So this has, that's about a 1-inch piece of ginger. So you see the ginger in here already cooked down, how it looks a little bit different. We've got our cardamom pods, cloves, cinnamon sticks. Am I forgetting anything else? I don't think so. All right. And I'm going to turn this on and cook it while we run errands. Okay, now back to the main story. Okay, so we've got this. Thank you, Justine. I think they are cute pumpkin pots too. So I'm just going to pour this in here. And I want you to kind of be able to see. The spices are going to, and see how it's syrupy, how it's thicker than just water. And let me get this on the top, and then I can show you a little bit more. Woo! Before I make a mess. See how it's kind of sitting in there? Whereas if we had run it through like that before. Also, I say when it sticks, it is about when it's right. So see how that's kind of, I'll show you from the side too. Because in there I say when it kind of sticks to your spoon, see how it gets a little thicker? It just, really, you're just looking for it to look like syrup. If it's thinner, when you take it off the heat, it's still going to keep cooking and infusing until it cools down. So it could thicken a little bit. If it's not a super thick syrup, the world doesn't end. It's okay. Okay. So I'm just going to take this and move some of the infused things so that all the syrup can come through. Now, With the pumpkin, there is going to still be some body to this from the pumpkin, but it's just a 1/4 cup to 1 cup of syrup pretty much. Actually 2 cups because there's sugar and water. And Mary Cooper, you can use coconut sugar for sure. I've not used sucant, but is that the unprocessed sugar? Because yeah, you could also use the, I always forget the name of it, the cone of sugar that's in the Indian market or the Mexican market. Anything that's like kind of darker, has a little molasses in it. If you don't have brown sugar, or you can't find anything that's vegan or suits your needs, and that way we could use a whole cup of vegan white sugar and probably a teaspoon or 2 of molasses, because all brown sugar is white sugar with molasses. And Lisa says, so much cheaper than Sweet Leaf and probably tastes better. Is Sweet Leaf, does that have a pumpkin spice syrup or a pumpkin spice flavor? I don't know it. Okay. Now, we were talking about smelling up your house. So this stuff, we can't really reuse it to make another batch of syrup. I could push it and do it right this second, but it's not safe to keep using over and over again. Plus, it's not going to be as flavorful because we've infused a lot of the flavor out. However, I could put this back in here with more water, maybe a cut up orange, lemon, mandarin, and use it just to make my house smell delicious. So think of these cinnamon sticks as not being wasted, but they get to be part of your potpourri decor. Okay, and I try to get as much of this out as I can because it's delicious, and I need to wipe the sugar off my hands and off of there. So it will be a sticky endeavor a little bit. So just, it's going to come right off. But I kind of get a little bit funny about that because I worked in a breakfast restaurant for a long time. And basically, I lived covered in syrup. It's like you touch the syrup and then you have it everywhere. Okay. All right, guys. So of course, I have a cute little bottle, and you won't see it once the syrup is in there because it's so dark, but it says good witch, bad witch. So as the syrup goes down, I'll be able to take a picture. This just has, a little thing in here. It's like an olive oil or vinegar bottle. You can also just put it in a mason jar. You don't have to get super fancy. Now, the one thing I will say is you're going to do better if you're using something like this to use a funnel. Oh, and Patricia says it's 57 degrees in northern Ohio. That sounds delightful. Okay. Funnels are good. Just don't look away when you get near the top. But this should just fill it, or maybe not even all the way. And see, this is where I could have gone wrong. Usually it's better the closer you get to the top to leave it a little bit lower. See, yeah. And then I'm going to scrape all this out with a spatula. And if you do the infused maple syrup recipe that's on plantbasedinstantpot.com, you get every drop of that syrup out because maple syrup is really expensive. So this is the least expensive way to do this. You could also take these spices and infuse date syrup, date paste. We are going to make a pumpkin sauce, kind of like a pumpkin caramel. I used to make it with full-fat coconut or light coconut milk, but we're going to do a different version this year because I'm not doing full-fat coconut milk. I am, for those of you who don't know, on the starch solution, which does not mean I can't have some sugar or salt. It does mean I have no oil. Okay, so we're going to let this get in here, and then I'm going to put a teaspoon of my vanilla extract. Who else went to Penzies and got their free vanilla like 2 weeks ago? It was awesome. I love vanilla. Okay, so we're gonna put, there's a teaspoon. And you could put more than a teaspoon in, really, if you wanted to, but it's expensive. But it also will add that really special note to the syrup that makes it worth it. So if I can leave out the vanilla right now while it's been expensive the past couple of years, I will. And so I'm just going to get all those little pieces out. And so the vanilla's at the top. So I'm just going to kind of hold this and shake it upside down a couple of times to get it moved around in there. We could have mixed it up in the measuring cup, which would have been the smarter thing to do. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, hi, Delia. It's so good to see you. I'm glad you caught the live. Like I was saying, I know there are more people on now. I'm not promising every day in October, but I'm going to try to do a video or a live most days in October. Because if I say every day, I'm going to make myself crazy. So I am going to be doing some taping soon to get some of those. Okay. So I know a lot of you are like, well, that's nice. Now I have a syrup, but what the heck do I do with it? So I'm going to go ahead and have 2 coffees today. Usually I have 1 coffee every few days, but you know, when it happens, it happens. So I have this cool glass. You guys, I think it's going to show this really well, but you can see it a little bit. Look at the eyes. I got this at World Market. Boston Vegan Bean says, Christmas in October. Oh, what makes Mexican vanilla Mexican? It's usually, I believe it's Mexican vanilla beans. You can get different kinds of vanilla beans, or not, different varietals, or from different places in the world. What makes a bourbon vanilla is that, because it gets infused with alcohol unless you get one that's alcohol-free and glycerin. That's why Chef AJ uses vanilla powder. You could have put vanilla powder in here and infused it in with the heat and all of that as well. But typically it's with alcohol. So it uses bourbon and adds a kind of a special flavor to the vanilla. Let's see what else. Have I done a cheese sauce recipe without nuts? Yes. Our nutritional yeast? No. I've tried it without nuts and it was okay, but once I add a 1/4 cup of cashews, it was amazing. I have a whole bunch of different cheese sauces with oats, and I think it works really well. It's very thick. And actually there's an Ancho pumpkin one that I've done, and I'm going to do that this month for one of these lives. If you can't eat nutritional yeast, you could leave it out, add a little extra lactic acid, a little miso, and maybe a little bit of mustard. And by little bit, I mean like a couple of drops of prepared mustard. I think I usually use a 1/4 or a 1/2 teaspoon of lactic acid, and I would add an additional 1/4 teaspoon to whatever that is. The nutritional yeast is what kind of gives it a cheesy flavor, but that would have so much umami going on that it would be pretty awesome, just like that. So hopefully that helps. I know it's a lot of lives. That's why I'm like, there will be some recordings and perhaps I will skip. You guys get on my mailing list if you're not on my mailing list, because I will tell you when these are coming up. I know if you're just on YouTube, you're kind of like sometimes, oh, when did she decide to go live? And sometimes it's 10 minutes before I go live. Sometimes it's longer than that, and then you get an email. Or an event like you did today. I decided, I think, 1/2 an hour before I did this one, because I'm like, it's October 1st. How can we not celebrate the first day of my favorite month of the whole year? It's just, you know. Yeah, World Market does have a lot of great stuff, Alicia. They had some pretty good Halloween stuff. I forget where I got this guy. There's a place and they have all spooky and gothic stuff. These little ghost guys I got at Home Goods. Home Goods now, though, isn't having quite as many things. Okay, so enough of that. Let's make, I have some cold brew coffee. And if you don't have to buy cold brew, you can make your own decaf cold brew at home. And you can use a pre-brewed grain coffee alternative like Ticino, or you could use a black tea, regular black tea decaf, a brewed rooibos tea. Okay, so wherever you are on the caffeine coffee tea spectrum, you can still make a version of this, okay? Yeah, it's hard to get the notices. So we're going to put the coffee in last. And I will tell you this now. While I do enjoy my coffees, especially a nice pumpkin spice latte with like a little foam on it, I drink my coffee very light. So if you're like, I like my coffee black with just a touch of syrup, yay you make it that way. But I'm going to use, and I'm just using Trader Joe's organic soy beverage. And I was going to make this with Ticino, but I think it's been in the fridge too long. So just so you know, it doesn't just happen to you. So I like a lot of milk, so I usually put about a cup. And soy milk is going to foam better than everything else. I like soy milk. You don't use soy milk, it's okay. You're just not going to get the same foam. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just the way it is. And I'm going to put, ooh, this one's coming out. I may have reduced this one a little extra. There we go. I'm going to put probably about a tablespoon. It's coming out very, very slow. Okay. And what I'm going to do next, if you have one of those air disc Vitamixes, that's what they use in Starbucks. And one of the reasons I want to make this pumpkin spice syrup is Starbucks pumpkin spice latte, the syrup and this syrup and the sauce both have dairy in it. So there's that. Yeah, not happy. Okay, in the UK, the people who are watching from the UK, you have a whole different thing. So this is seriously a cheap Ray Dunn frother. Look, froth, in case we forgot what this does. It's battery operated. It's not super strong. Oh, just because I said that, now it's not working. It's like, fine, you be that way. I just used it this morning. Okay, let's try a different battery. Cannot believe. Oh, let me try again. Maybe somehow. I literally made my first coffee with this. If it's broken, I'm going to laugh because I was being kind of crappy to it. All right, so let me grab 2 batteries. I can always get my KitchenAid air disc and do it too, but I wanted to show you how easy it is. Okay, so it was in this way, and then it was in this way. Hey Cheryl, yeah. Can you come help? Cheryl's scared to touch anything else. Well, I just used this and now it's not working. So I just put these batteries. Do you want to get 2 other batteries? See, like, well,
don't use the rechargeables.
They don't always work, but the regular ones, no, these are rechargeable too, it says. Don't say bad things about your kitchen appliances. They will get you back. I just said, isn't it silly? It's cheap, and then it didn't work. I've been using this for years.
Did you drop it or anything?
Nope, I did not drop it or anything today. Nothing.
Here, let me give it a go.
Okay. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Look at everyone and say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Does anybody have any questions about pumpkin spice syrup while we're taking this interlude? I see light and sweet, yum. Everybody's like, well, I'm here. You're here for this shirt. That is it. And some pumpkin spice syrup. And I'm trying to make a super awesome latte-ish thing. Let's try some. I think, how could it have broken since this morning?
Yeah, let me try to, I think those batteries, it's not clear how they're supposed to go in.
Marie says, hi, Cheryl. And Debbie says, I don't do sweet coffee. Maybe on pancakes, waffles, also baked apples.
Can you get that off there?
Apple crumble. Here, you want it, here, I'll put it in the other way, is what you're thinking.
I wonder if they both go different directions.
They do go different directions. For sure, because see?
Yeah, okay. Let me,
But I think the little dot is where this guy goes.
okay.
What else can you use the syrup for? Hey, Mona! It is Happy Halloween. You should store the syrup in the refrigerator. I'm doing an experiment. Actually, it's with this one. So this one has twice as much sugar as the recipe calls for. And I'm trying something because they say if you do 2-to-1 sugar to water ratio, it can not have to be refrigerated, but I want to test it. So from now, we're saying all of them need to be refrigerated. Yeah, baked apples. I did that. I made some, well, actually, Debbie, you were in the class. So with the cinnamon spice syrup, which is like cinnamon dolce syrup I made in class. She's just not. How many people, how many vegans or plant-based people does it take to put batteries in a frother? More than we have here. Aw, Deborah says, hi Cheryl, I'm new and you are a sweetheart. She is. Yeah, oatmeal. Oatmeal, I actually have put it on my oatmeal this week for sure. And Delia says, I have that same frother. It's expensive, but does the job. It sure used to. It did this morning.
It is dead frother.
Okay, let me grab, just say, oh, well, you won't have a mic. Let me see, where did I put my other container where it's supposed to be, or is it back here? I was not prepared for this, y'all. I think it's in here. Okay. Okay, I will use the air disc, so we're going from a $10 to $15 tool to a $100 tool, which is not my goal today. But you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And if Cheryl gets it fixed before I get arranged, hello all you new people. You missed me making the pumpkin spice syrup, but I may recap it for you. Basically, you put all the stuff. Oh, yay! And this is the air disc. And what it does, this is what at Starbucks makes the cold foam. And you can ask them to make your cold foam with soy. What was the matter with it?
So there's a little tab that, you know, the battery goes against. It had got pushed down too far, and so it wasn't actually connecting with the battery.
Yay! You've redeemed yourself from the earlier noise.
Thank you. I am so glad. I am so sorry about the noise.
It's okay. She ran into a bunch of stuff that fell over. Okay, let's see what we got. It is a spooky vibe, that's for sure. Oh, hi, King's Child. It's awesome to see you. So we're making pumpkin spice syrup, which we've made, and I could show you guys all the ingredients in here since it looks like a bunch of you just came in. So this is a half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of white sugar, some cinnamon sticks, some ground nutmeg, we have cloves, we have cardamom pods, and we have sliced fresh ginger. And if you go down in the description, and then after it's all cooked, it looks a little like this. There's some syrup in the bottom and probably all over my counter. And then it goes in this cute little bottle with some vanilla. I know, Cheryl saves the day. Cheryl to the rescue, says Justine. Cheryl saves the day, as she does. That's what she does. She's the fix-it person around here. I just make food. All right, so let's get this in here. So what we have in here is probably about a cup of plain soy milk. So I've already kind of gone through this, but I like my lattes light. I don't drink a lot of coffee, so I like all the milky stuff. Your mileage may vary. And I was also saying, I've got cold brew coffee here that I'm going to do something with. This could be brewed Ticino you keep in the fridge, leftover coffee. It could be black tea. It could be rooibos tea. It could be decaf tea. There are all the choices, and you may make whichever one you want. So I put probably about a tablespoon of syrup in the bottom-ish. This was thick. This is also, this one versus that one, this one has twice the amount of sugar in it because I'm testing something. Okay, so I think we're all caught up now. And if you don't drink any kind of beverages, you could put this in hot chocolate. You could, what else could we do? We could put it on baked apples, baked pears, drizzle it on top of a crumble, like an apple crisp. You could put it on oatmeal. You can drizzle it on something and then put like a little brownie on there. There's just like whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna, actually, let's see if we do it this way. I think you'll see, yeah, I think you'll see it a little bit better. So this is the frother. This thing goes around and it adds air. And it's also gonna mix my syrup up. And see how it's getting bigger? It's because air is being introduced. And I want you to see from the top. See how fluffy this is? And you can keep going and making it fluffier, which I think we will. And then some of this is going to fall down. But if about here up is foam, that is liquid, so you pick what you like. And then I usually just rinse this off in the sink and put it back in its little stand. But what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of coffee. It's probably less than a quarter cup for me, but you could be different. And I would be happy for you to be different. And I usually what I do then is I give it a little stir. Oh, we're sideways too. So I just give it a stir so the coffee goes throughout. And if I felt like, see, this is the foam. See, it's pretty stiff. It's not quite as stiff as Starbucks, but that's just because I'm not just doing it. I can keep doing it, making it a little thicker. Let me let you see if you guys can see this from up above. See how and basically it's just the bubbles get tighter. Woo! I'm getting crazy now throwing stuff around. You got to see this drip. So that drip shows you how thick this is. And I have some ice which have now melted. I'm going to put just a little bit of ice in there because I'm making an iced cold brew pumpkin spice latte with pumpkin foam. Pumpkin spice foam. Okay. That was unexpected. I even had a little mustache there from a cold foam. Oh, it's good. It's really good. I've been doing the cinnamon spice syrup, which I am going to do this month for you guys. And that has more depth, more like super spice. Whereas this has a little bit of that nutmeg, has some pumpkin, so it actually has squash in there. And also, if you hate pumpkin, A, I don't understand you because it's not a strong taste, so explain it to me. B, leave it out. It's your syrup. It's not my syrup. You don't have to put it in there. And then it's pumpkin spice originally was the spices that go in pumpkin pie, right? Because there's an apple spice blend, and that's the spices that go into apple pie. So then everybody was like really mad at Starbucks because there isn't even any pumpkin in it. But I do like the pumpkin in here. I think it kind of balances out. It gives it kind of like a little mid-tone, something or other. And the vanilla just really comes in on top and kind of just pulls it all together. So it's a great drink. Also, it's non-dairy. You could use a different sugar. You could actually infuse maple syrup with all of this stuff. You could use coconut sugar. You could try other things as well. If you're like, I hate nutmeg, leave it out. I hate cinnamon, leave it out, right? So you can make it exactly the way you want to. And I just want to cheers to October 1st, the first day of Halloween.